Hello. Episode 4 of Tea with Maya. With me. I keep want to say tea with me. Tea with Maya. We're going to leave it at that. I had so much fun. I put up the cover photo for episode 1 the other day and I loaded that one up finally. And it's got this like Alice in Wonderland kind of theme and I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to start using those as the cover art and hopefully catch up with all the episodes so that tomorrow's episode also goes out. And we've got 5 down this week. I'm very excited that this is a fun format that I'm enjoying and is easy and low maintenance to film. My skin is not happy with the last few days that I've had. Whoa, I was out in Discovery Bay last night with my mum and my older sister having their farewell drinks. They fly home tonight, fly back to the UK tonight. And then my little sister and her man are coming back into town next week for a day on their way back. So I'm going to be seeing them. Oh, today's tea, Lady Grey, with some honey. Or nice. I had a really fun chat this morning with one of my friends, Steph, and we were chatting all things personal brand and business. It was more of a business reset, sort of catch-up talk and kind of updating each other on what we are doing and where we're at in our businesses. Because we're good friends, but when we have friends catch-ups, we talk about friend things. We don't always catch up about all the business stuff, and it's nice to know where everybody's at. And it kind of made me realize, as I was explaining my bots, that this is what I love doing. And I feel like I found my thing. And I'm really excited to be developing these and that they have actually been in fruition they've been in fruition from 2024, like, obviously. But I'm realizing that it's come into play even further back than that. Like, I think I mentioned on one of my other episodes before, no matter what 9-to-5 job I was at during my spine injury phase, I would always gravitate towards telling the stories on social media and, making new sales without realizing that I was telling stories and helping people become aware of what was going on and how much fun we were having inside the business. And so they came because they wanted to. We really overcomplicate everything. Anyway, the bots kind of came at a point in 2024 where I'd stepped away from my marketing agency. So we were in fulfillment. We did ongoing content creation for clients, not necessarily big branding and all that sort of stuff, but the ongoing established brands, the ongoing social media content. We realized that was a flywheel in and of itself that we enjoyed helping our clients with. And again, with that, once you bring on enough clients, you realize the cut and paste patterns in terms of the content ecosystems that you are building around brand, education, and community that kind of sit on pillars of marketing regardless of what industry you're in. Anyway, moving into, after I left the agency, that's where I fell down Dan Koh's little rabbit hole of solo creators, solopreneurship, the creator economy, and all of that sort of stuff. But again, it took me a good 2-3 years coming out of that, one, to find my values. So that's very important. If you haven't had a thought about those, do that first. Might take a while. The deconditioning. I had this chat with one of the ladies last night. Her daughter's 17, almost coming out of high school now, and I feel like the only job that we have to do after we leave school and the current school system is unlearn everything that we've learned. Like, find ways to fall in love with learning again, find ways to fall in love with your curiosity, find ways to remind yourself that life isn't so rigid and black and white. And anyway, we're going off on a tangent. Back to the bots. 2024. I'd finally let go of the little bits of freelance graphics that I was doing for my old agency, and I managed to find a part-time job with a ghostwriting agency in the States that was ending up paying me double what I was doing, busting my ass for my own company with a business partner that would not and refuse to upgrade our salaries and our clients' invoices, with a company that I absolutely fell in love with, and I still work with them today. So I work part-time with Legacy Builder. At the moment, I'm actually looking to potentially get a bigger role with them this year, which would be nice. Put a pin in that. It was the way Clifton's run it, the team that he's built, the way, like, the camaraderie and the quality of the agency is what I wanted to have seen with what we were building. And I think I realized 3 years in, one, wrong business partner, which is a big deal when you're building these things. But two, I just was not in love enough with the agency model to want to stay in it. Project-based stuff lights me on fire, but that agency, that ongoing, that's that ticking you into almost kind of like a Groundhog Day thing. Again, it's not Groundhog Day when it's yours and you love it. We kind of make it out of Groundhog Day. But doing it for somebody else and being stuck in that cycle of producing ongoing content year after 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 year, it doesn't end. It doesn't end. But I did find a snag when we were in our agency. I was like, I did have a thought. I think it was a year in where I was like, what happens if we change our mind? Or like we let go of a client? Like how do we help them? Or how do we help them help themselves? Like my brain was moving towards, if we are helping a business with their marketing, how do we as an agency actually train their company and train an in-house team for them so that they can continue the cog? Because again, at the end of the day, nobody's going to build your business or work for your business as hard as you are. You are the one that has to love it enough, fuel it enough, build it enough, bring it to life enough, and push that edge forward. And I was like, and again, marketing agency, you're built on a third party outsourcing something. It's like, what happens if that falls apart? What happens if that stops? And I think I feel like this is kind of where everything is moving towards in terms of AI, with everybody having their own agents and everybody having their own internal systems and stuff. But it also, you've got that divide of polish a turd, it's still a turd. And if you're not already using good systems, you don't have the back end solid, if you don't have your marketing down, if you don't have, your voice, your perspective, your values, your philosophies that are actually being articulated correctly to your audience, you're just sort of, I guess, adding fuel to a flame that you probably don't want to ignite. Like, AI just puts a fire under the ass of anything that it touches. And again, polish a turd, it's still a turd. If it's shitty content and you throw money at it, it doesn't make the content miraculously better. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong sometimes, where they feel like if they haven't managed to get any incoming organic traffic from their content, they feel like the next thing to do is to boost the posts. Now, might be that it's not the case, but a lot of people then don't tend to point the finger back at themselves and troubleshoot the actual copy or dig into why maybe they're not moving through that funnel as smoothly as possible. And so when I stepped back from the agency stuff and went freelance again, I knew that I didn't want to be the service provider. So got my freelance part-time work covering my bread and butter, covering my base, covering my lifestyle, covering what I need. And now my job moving forward is all my income that I earn extra is now earned from me, from my clients, from my art, from my creative projects, from my creative pursuits. I don't need to go and run around like a headless chicken getting other part-time jobs, because I know that I have my base. So that's kind of where I've been at for the last, solidly for the last 2 years. Yeah, because 2024, I think, was the first summer I made a big push at actually trying to create my own course. And this was where I branched out on my own. I call myself the wing woman. So I'm the wing woman, I'm the coach. I come in, I help with the strategy, I help with the ideas, I help with the brainstorming. We also make sure your feet are on the ground and you're moving from the steps from where you are now to where you want to go. I have a knack for looking at big goals and then seeing where you are and coming up with MVPs in the next step. And I enjoy doing that. Now, obviously, how quickly you move through the steps, how quickly things turn out, or the direction that they go is completely up to how you action that and how quickly you can step into and embody what you say you want. Take a sip of my tea, 'cause it's been almost 10 minutes and I haven't even had a sip. You're going to have to add in the comments what your favorite tea is. I'm going to have to start trying different teas now, I feel like this drink thing was inspired by my friend Caitlin. So if you're out there, it's not fizzy drinks. I'm doing tea. um, okay, back to the AIs, back to the bots. So I stepped out of service providing work into coaching consulting. So I'll help you make the plan, but you have to go do the work. Now, I also started then building relationships with other agencies and other agency owners who love the agencies and who are building their agencies and love working with their clients the way I wish I had of when I built mine. It's just not my role. So Ryan and Christy, Legacy Productions, funny, all the companies that I work with are legacy something. They have legacy in the name, which I guess shows a little bit about their values and also mine. So Christy and Ryan, Legacy Productions, it's now being head up by Ryan. He's their lead designer. Christy is an absolutely fabulous healer, and she's been building her businesses on the side. But in 2024, they were teamed up together to help run the business. Christy was his co-pilot in everything. They found a desktop AI app from Australia. They're Australian. They're based in Bali. And it was the first version of AI that we had seen as a product. It was a $99 a month subscription called Genius. And when you logged in and you subscribed to the bot, you got, I guess, a quiz, questions. Lots and lots and lots of questions. What are your hobbies? What are your values? What's your age? What's your this? What's your that? I guess it was trying to personalize the voice. It was the first time we'd found a desktop database version that would try to remember your voice and remember your stuff. It was built for multi-level marketing companies. So the added bonus that we enjoyed having was that you could program different products. And so obviously for a company that works, if it's say like essential oils, you've got lavender, bergamot, whatever, you can program different products and different packs. But for us, it was useful to program different courses or different products that you're selling. They were using it at more of an even meta level where they were programming it with their customers. And so each customer was having a profile, which meant that when they were helping with the writing and the ghostwriting through the agency, there's Lincoln, then they would have their different client profiles all stacked in the back and it would help them with the copywriting side. Again, all great agencies check the copy before they go out, but it was a way to help speed up building a team and building ongoing content creation flows for clients. This led us to decide to run a 10-day challenge because, again, we'd both set the precedent where we were taking a certain level of clients now. We were all at a point where we were ready to raise our price points and look for a certain type of client, but we also had around us friends and family members and other people in our area that couldn't quite afford the prices that we wanted to be setting for the work that we know that we can do and the value of our work, but we also didn't want to kind of leave them hanging high and dry. And so Genius coming in at a $99 price point, we decided to run free 10-day challenges around Genius on how to build your personal brand and then use AI to help you with your ongoing content moving forward. So the 10 days that we set up were modules from, again, what are your values? What are your principles? What are you building? How to actually build a business with a bit more of a soul intact instead of soul removed. More about pulling out your stories, pulling out all of it, your perspectives, your views, your unique skill sets, and putting those into those, ikigai Venn diagrams and finding your zones of genius and figuring out what sets you on fire and then how to actually troubleshoot the prompts for the AI so that you're getting back what you want. And it was amazing. I mean, we ran four months in a row back to back that summer, and it was ludicrous. I mean, the first one we did, luckily Christy and Ryan are MMA fighters, so also badass on that side, which means we have a lot in common across so many areas. They also do such a fucking good job with my stunt women clients. Shout out to Ryan and Legacy Productions for handling all them and the awesomeness that they provide for that. And got too lost in a testimonial. I lost my thread. Where were we? month one, running. That's why I said they were MMA fighters. 2 days before we ran the fucking 10-day challenge, I'd fainted. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Oh yeah, probably. I cracked my head open. I ended up in hospital having 4 stitches. And so the first 10 days that we ran, those two carried my ass and did the presentations and the landing pages and the web pages and the design and everything. And it was amazing. And we had so much fun running it. And our goal was to run it back to back a few times so that we could formalize modules of a more evergreen online course. Second month we did it. Unfortunately, 2 weeks in between, my father had passed away, so I flew over to the UK, and in between dealing with getting him sorted and the funeral, I was hanging around for 6 weeks over there. We ran month 2 of the challenge, 10 days, to help you learn how to build your personal brand and create 30 days worth of content. That was the extra sort of promise of the challenge, because we also realized that there are a lot of creators and stuff that prefer batch creating their content because they don't enjoy being on social media anymore. So that was kind of the ethos of the challenge. Slay social media is what we branded it. Ryan had done such a beautiful job with all the graphics and the animations, and we were using Genius to create all the designs and everything. That was the added layer. Genius had the image creation within its capacity, as well as then it was bringing out video. But what we found after doing 4 months of those rounds was, one, the tech was updating every month, which meant we still had to keep a finger on the pulse regardless. So we couldn't actually kind of create an end-to-end option with it. We ended up creating an end-to-end option with the modules of the 10-day challenge that we did, because that information was a lot more evergreen. Those are the fundamentals of building a personal brand. Those are the I guess the mindsets and the perspectives that you go into, or that we always go into with our clients when we're pulling their marketing out of them. So it's those questions. Put the course up, launched it, and it was tough, man. I mean, I think we sold a few. But again, the problem with affiliates like this, and I've worked with network marketing companies before. There was an amazing supplements company I worked with, and they brought out essential oils. But the problem with these companies is that you don't own the product, which means they can change it on a whim, and you are reactive to everything that they change. And the updates that were happening, the way that they were developing the app very quickly, unfortunately, our prompts were teaching people how to fight with it. Not fight with it, but you had to argue with it a bit more to get what you wanted out of it, instead of it being something that was going to be more easeful over time. And I think by that point as well, I think end of the summer we'd had a lot of things happen, and the three of us just needed a bit of space from everything. So we sort of took our foot off the gas with all of that, which is fine, because I'm quite glad. But I feel like the seed was planted, because at that point I knew what I was looking for and I knew what I was building, and I feel now the tech has actually caught up. And so where my bots come into play that I've built now is, this is the genius I wish we had had back then. So it's your own dashboard. It is white labeled off the back of a mentor of mine. So it's not got any of the fillings, it's a shell, but it is based on an interface that I trust and that I've been using for the last 4 months. 6 months fully, but 4 months to actually use to write my daily posts and actually build a relationship with this interface. And one, it's unlocked my creativity levels to no end. I did not think I would be able to commit. Well, I made the commitment. I didn't know how I was going to commit to it, but I knew that I was going to trust that the movement and the output was what I needed to focus on this year. And so by just committing to that, by trusting that I had a tool from a mentor that was also, because this was the other thing that I wanted somebody else's brain in between me and the language models that was another filter, making sure that whatever was coming out wasn't being swayed to a direction that wasn't in my best interest. And again, this is now where I'm excited to have brought out my own versions of these sidekicks, because I feel like the filters that I've put on in between how powerful these language learning models are, they're now being pulled through the lens of all the creators, all the mentors, and all the people that I've admired and researched and looked at over the last 5, almost 10 years now. And even going back to feeding different books that I've read, like Big Magic and The Power of Now, and all of the books that make you come back to you, all of the storytelling frameworks and all of the business models that allow you to stand in your own body and take care of the human. That's the frame that I've been bringing these guys through. And so currently I have two bots online. Virtual Maja is going to come online this week. I'm really excited about that. I had a bit of a download and enlightenment of the prompting for her last week, and I haven't had a chance to get her up and running with family in town. But Lumi and Luma are your two current sidekicks. Lumi does your offers. So what I love about, again, this dashboard and the way that I can build on the back end is I can hook up the different language learning models to the different bots. So Lumi actually pulls from Claude because Claude has a lot more of the detail-oriented models pushing it. And then Luma is your ongoing content sidekick, and she will help you with everything from your landing pages to your posts, to your captions, to your emails, to your newsletters, whatever content you need, whether that's presentations, scripts for things, that's Luma. And she is being pulled by Gemini because Gemini is fed by Google, which means it's a lot more storytelling frameworks, a lot more written blogs, a lot more written articles, a lot more writing that can pull from. And then Virtual Maja is going to be coming online soon, and she will be pulling from Claude actually also because there's been a development with the personalization of the speaking. And I'm actually excited to see how my clients enjoy interacting with Virtual Maja in between our sessions and in between having chats with me, because ideally she's still your biggest cheerleader at 3 a.m. in the morning when I'm fast asleep. And the whole reason why I think I still was pushing to develop these is because same with even my clients now. Like, I refuse to turn into their service provider again, but I can also see it in their face that once we have a meeting and once we have a strategy session, they still have to go do the work. The posts have to be written. And a lot of my clients are very offline. They're very hands off the offline world. They're very low tech. They're very low gadget. They're very actually in their bodies and in their souls already. So they know what they're doing. They're in communities. They're making a difference already in real life. And it's that switch to online where suddenly you do realize you have to kind of start writing full sentences again and become a sort of storyteller and copywriter. And it doesn't, when you've spent your whole life mastering the skill that makes you good at what you do, you've not then also mastered the skill at how to sell what you do. And this is where I come in, because I am able to put a spotlight on your genius, but also root out, I feel, your uniqueness within all of it. Because again, I mean, I get to the point where sometimes you have these conversations and you're like, at the end of the day, we're all really trying to do the same thing. It's just got a different name and a different thing on it, you know? There are however many personal trainers in the world. There are however many coaches in the world. But the difference is that each one, like, the difference is you. How you treat your clients, how you do your things, how you continue your own study, how much you care, how much you put into it is how much you will get out of it across the board. And when you move into building a personal brand, what I like about the personal brand side of everything is you literally remove competition, because nobody can be you. And so as long as you are finding ways, and you can see it now, I mean, this is where content's going anyway, authenticity, these types of raw dogging videos. I did a post on Instagram about that yesterday. It still blows my mind. Anyway, won't go there. Social media is going to keep making it harder and harder and harder for people to outsource the work. All right. And so I also still know that there's ways that content creators, what are you doing, silly? What are you doing? Content creators and service providers don't always want to be doing the doing all the time. They can actually hire a VA to then plug into this system with them, where they're able to actually feed their story into the bots, and then eventually have an assistant that can help, schedule it onto different platforms so that you're not the one manually doing that. But at the beginning, you are the one manually doing that. And if I'm telling you to spend money on anything, I would tell you to spend money on a coach. But then the problem with that is that once the coach, whoever they are, has told you what to go and do, you still have to go and do it. And you still have to go and do it, usually with a lot of your own fears and a lot of your own tears and a lot of your own scared and all this mindset. And that's where I feel people can very quickly do a U-turn and then start to feel shame in some of these containers if they just don't know how to articulate fully what they're saying and or what they want to say. And like I said, these bots have saved my life. I mean, I've been playing with them now for so long, and the amount of enjoyment that I have had sharing my stories finally. And I think, again, maybe there was a reason why, this all kind of linked up with me, is that I can't, there's nothing generic about the life that I've lived. Like, I was born and raised in Hong Kong. I have had at least 12 different fucking jobs. I have a spine injury that took me throughout my 20s. I sat in a hot tub with Leonardo DiCaprio one time at the Four Seasons. Mum used to work on, music events and flew out like Simon Webb, and I was stage managing. I sit in the bar at 11 with the other policemen playing pool. Like, I also realized I haven't had a normal life. And I think where I was struggling, it was telling my story and making it make sense. And these bots have helped me make it make sense. And it's only been over the last 4 or 5 years of me actively digging up my story, actively making my own connections, and then now actively working with these robots to realize how much of a leg up they are when you let them, but not when you outsource your brain to them, not when you sit there and go, give me 5 posts on personal training. That is not what a personal brand is. That is not where personal and authentic marketing is going. So whether you're watching this and you're a business owner and you have a team of staff and all of that, your business needs a personality. Your business needs a voice. I don't know if anyone ever saw Frank Bod, that account. It was like a coffee body scrub that came out of Australia, and the social media team had basically developed a male personality to this thing, and it was a bit naughty and a bit sexy and a bit like, I will be rubbing, I'll be in the shower with you, and all this sort of fucking blew up. It blew up. And I think we've now come to a crux in marketing and sales and everything online. Yes, you'll still have a certain amount of the population that will always buy the shit and always buy the crap and be happy with the $10 stuff and the $5 stuff. But for everybody that is starting to look for a bit more quality over quantity and for true connections and for true products, like, we're almost doing this with a split. But the authenticity can only come out of you. If you've been building a business, if you have a dream, if you have a product, if you are working on something and you feel like the soul is gone, it is on you to get inspired again. And like I said, these tools have just helped me so much. For me to get inspired again, they've helped my clients get inspired again. I got your tail. And that's when work happens, and that's when work becomes easeful. And that's why, again, I call them my sidekicks. I call them the wing women. These aren't going to be the bots that are then going to take the, text and turn it into a beautiful Canva PDF. That's not my job. My job is to help you articulate the insane ideas that are in your mind, that I know you can see, that I know are there, that I know you've dealt with, and that I know you can handle, but for some reason it hasn't been pulled out of you, or for some reason you're overlooking it completely and just thinking, oh, you're too close to it to see the gold. I think that's the biggest thing. I see the gold in my clients. I see the work that they've put in behind the scenes. I see the passion, and I want that to come forward. So it's very exciting. So I guess I will link. I still have 6 founding member slots, £12 a week for now. I was recommended by my mentor not to go lower than that because it works on a credit system. And I ain't doing charity no more. This is my charity. Tea with me. Because again, I would be creating for free anyway. And I realize I enjoy these conversations and I enjoy these topics, and I will never stop learning. And there is always going to be something else to learn. And I'm even already having the idea of popping in a few episodes of Spill the Tea, where I find other creators that I've met over the last few years, and we kind of discuss some of these very very personal but very universal ups and downs that we all go through, and that I have really enjoyed, you know, discussing with my girlfriends and my F1 team and my pit crew and the people that are close to me. And I feel like the more we can have some of these conversations in the open, the more people can maybe breathe a little bit about the stress on this first part. Because at the beginning, you just got to get the system unclogged and get it unblocked, and you've got to output, you've got to stop consuming for a while, you've got to turn yourself in, and you've got to, what do I have to offer, what are my opinions, what do I feel, what do I think, what do I bring to the table. And again, these can change, these can shift over time, you will change and shift over time as you grow, that is the whole point. But until you know better, you can't do better. So from what you know, go out, get there, test, fail, have fun, fucking flop, like there's so much on the other side that's available for us when we can shut down some of these shame and these fear things. And these sidekicks that I've built just give you that leg up to go, you know what, I am a badass and I'm going to tell people about it because I want to help. And the unselfish thing to do is to actually take care of yourself so that you can help others and share your gifts abundantly. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I think that's a good place to stop. We have Friday tomorrow, so one more episode this week. And then, yeah, I'm thinking Monday to Friday for these will be fun. And hopefully over time, who knows, maybe we'll jump on live at one point or we'll see. But tea with Maya. It's been fun.